There we go. Hello. How are you all? Hope you're all well. Hello, everyone. Now, before we start this stream, I want to give a big shout out to a good friend of mine called Return of the Rocket Man. Um, he has his own YouTube channel and he reviews a hell of a load more toys than I do. He's got a much bigger range. So, yeah, big shout out. Hello, Return. Everybody, if you find yourself, you got time, please give him a like and look at his channel because he does an awful lot of reviews on everything from Marvel to NECA to Doctor Who to it's character, it's Marvel, it's NECA, and he does a hell of a lot, and he's got a load of collections. And not only that, he does reviews. He has done reviews of Doctor Who episodes, past and present, and he does all sorts. So please give him a watch, and if you like him, please subscribe. It'll help him out really well. He's trying to get to a lot more subscribers than what he has at the moment. I think he wants to reach over 1,000 by Christmas. And if we all went and watched his channel and subscribed, I think it will make his Christmas. So if you can, please do. The more people he gets, the merrier. Okay, so last week I went on and I was talking about scalpers and B&M and the figures. And guess what, everyone? I can proudly say I have here ta-da! Now you'll probably see the reflection of the. I'm going to hold it at an angle here. I need to be close to the mic. There, you can see I have now got the first Doctor and Tardis. And when I walked into B&M the other day, I have a colleague good friend and ex-neighbour, who caught me straight away and said, "We've got new Doctor Who figures in. Come and have a look. Come and have a look." So I knew exactly where they would be, so I went straight there, and they had this one, which I picked up, which is the first Doctor and Tardis. There we have it. That's the first one. And the only other one they had there was this one, which would take my hand away. The Earthshock collector figure set with the fifth Doctor and the two android destroyers, the androids that lurk in the shadows of the cave, with a backdrop on the bomb. And there's apparently another pair of hands in this side. So hold up here. In this side, there's another pair of hands, extra pair of hands for each of the figures. So I'm not going to review them. And the reason I'm not going to review them is because I saw a channel the other day, and I think I might have mentioned it before. It's called Ode to Toys. And he's only a young man, but he's very, very knowledgeable about character. Knows a lot, knows his stuff, probably more than I do. And I've been collecting since about 2007-8. But he's been collecting from the off, I think, and he's got more of a range than I have. He's got more figures than I have, and his reviews are so professional. Give him credit; they're like a documentary when he puts the videos on, and it's really nice to see that a young man can take up his, can use his time wisely and come out with a review. So there's no need for me to do it, which in itself can be a bit of a drawback. But there you go. That's that. I think his reviews are much better than mine, and his opinion would have been exactly, his opinions are exactly the same as mine. They're exactly the same as what I think. Excuse me. So there's no point in me going over the review again, because I feel at the moment there's enough reviews on the new TARDIS sets already. So it's pointless me trying to put my penny's worth in, because it's already been done. And there's loads of them on there. am I going to? Would I sing characters' praises? Well, there are things they could have done. Like for example, as I've shown you the Earthshock set, he's absolutely spot on. We didn't really need two of the robots. We could have just done with one and had a companion like Adric. But I can appreciate on the other side of the coin, I can appreciate that they're trying to keep the costs down and the fact that they're reusing parts when and if they can. Those robots are made up from the Gold Man. I've forgotten which set it's from now, but they're reused parts. So I could understand why they're trying to keep costs down, but at the end of the day, it would have been nice to see a new figure of Adric, because he's smaller than the other. He'd be smaller than the other figures because he was only a young lad at the time. He was in Matthew Woolhouse, so then he just turned 18, and he's not a very tall guy anyway. So as a small young adult, he'd have been smaller than. He was naturally smaller than Davison anyway. So if we'd have come out with a figure like that, and I understand that tooling costs can cost up thousands of pounds. I think it's £2,000 to £3,000 for each individual figure. But I'm sure they'd have sold enough of these figure sets to have made another new sculpt out of it. But that's any drawback I will say with that. With regards to the first Doctor Tardis, the first Doctor, would have been nice to see him with his cloak, because I haven't got one with a cloak, and I agree that his face is more. I mean, his face is now whiter, just as white as Harry Sullivan's. Harry's up there. Just give me a sec. I'm trying not the other figures over. There's Harry's face. You can't. Let me turn this light off a minute. Give me a sec. I'll just turn it off. You got me in the shade a little bit. I'm going down again. The one thing about my chair is that it keeps sinking. I think the action's going on it. So, look at Harry's face. It's not as I showed you last time, it's not an autofocus camera. So I've got to do it by hand. His face is very pale. That's my hand there. Look at, I've got a pinkish hand, and if you put him in front, his face is very, very pale. And it don't look right. It's just really, the paint app, they got a bit wrong. I think the uniforms, his outfit's fine. It's just his face. As I say, he looks very. Why's it done that? Okay. Let's put that back there a minute and put this up here a sec. I'm not going to put that back. Just autofocus myself again. And I'm back in the room. How are you? Right. So I hope your week's going well at the moment. Mine's been a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to lie. It looks like I might have to get rid of my car after Christmas, because the fact is it's costing too much. It's a 20-year-old car, and looks like I can't afford to keep it. So I'm going to have to get rid of that after Christmas. It's just one of the drawbacks of life. So there we are. It's just one of the things that happen. But we won't talk about that. We're here to talk about Torchwood today. I didn't think a lot of people covered these figures, but having a look on YouTube, and I just typed in Torchwood action figures, there seems to be quite a few that have, within the past 10 months, brought them up, which is quite surprising, because I thought everybody poo-pooed these figures. I didn't like them very well. They didn't like much of them. But I quite liked them, so I bought the full 2 waves, because they were started by a company called Scificollector. Now, it's not Character, it's called Scificollector, who run a series of shops, movie and TV collectible shops throughout the UK. And in 2008, they bought the license to produce Torchwood action figures, and they only managed to make 2 waves of 2 lots of full figures, so 8 plus a variant, 9 in total. And unfortunately, at the end of it, because not many people were heavily invested in these figures, they didn't make any further waves, which is a shame. It's a shame for any people trying out in the collecting field that they produce something that's not really, it's hard to describe. They don't really resemble the character, but they're not supposed to look 100% like the character. They're just representation is the word I'm looking for. Representation. Everything's representation. So the first character we're going to look at is the main one. It's the first one to come out. I'm not going to hold him too close to the screen because otherwise he'll stay out of focus. But the first one is this one, Captain Jack Heartless. He has his Webley gun there. Now, what is disappointing about these figures is that they're actually hollow. I don't think they're, unlike character, the full molds, and they're full figures, which means that they've used the molds they've filled up completely with plastic material, the vinyl. These, however, are hollow. These legs are hollow. I'm sure if I were to get a saw and saw through the leg, they'd be hollow on the inside, which means it's only a rotor cast, I think. So they feel lighter. It's another way of putting it. They feel lighter than character action figures. A hell of a lot lighter. But that doesn't detract from how they are. There are some niggles about these figures, and I will go through them bit by bit. So the first thing I will say is that his paint apps are so thickly applied that when you turn the head, you can't turn it all the way, because I made the mistake of doing that, turn his head all the way to the left and right, and I've got a little gouge taken out under his chin. I've had to order another one. I don't know whether it's going to come because they might not have any left in, but there's a black gouge been taken out of his throat, basically, where the paint app has rubbed on his shirt and just taken the paint away, rubbed the paint away. So that's a bit of a gripe. He's not got ball jointed shoulders. Sorry, I'm just trying to look here. He's not got ball jointed shoulders, so his arms don't go out. He's just got the normal bend at the elbow there, and he's got rotation at the wrist. But I do like it because he can hold his gun properly. He's holding his gun properly through the trigger guard. He's got his finger through there. And I do like the fact that he's got his vortex manipulator on the other arm as well. So they have paid quite a bit of attention to detail. They've put his vortex manipulator on there. One thing I am disappointed is that they didn't do one with a cloak with his coat on. But what I have got is the character options version of Captain Jack. Or just quickly show you here. The Captain Jack Heartless with his RF coat on. So that's the version I have with the display as well. So there's that one. Notice he's wearing his dark blue shirt. I will come on to it in a bit, talk about that. in a little while. So that's the start of the first wave. So let's put Captain Jack over here. So the next one to come out was the Cyberwoman. Now this one is very hollow and is very light, but it's a good representation of her. If I turn it sideways, she has got an incredibly large bust there. See that? But same thing again. Her arms are not on butterfly joints, but her shoulders, she can do a 360 at the shoulder. Her head is on a ball joint, believe it or not. So she can look down and look up. She has got a bit of a waist movement there. It doesn't detract from the figure. Yeah, I'm moving it around now. Look, see, moving it around there. Legs kick out as normal and got back, but she's wearing stiletto heels, and all of these figures come with a Torchwood base as well, which I quite like. Just a base or figure stand, and it's got a red T on there that denotes Torchwood. See, red T, and there's little pegs there, 2 pegs there that they put their feet on, so they don't move. So there she is. So that was the second figure made. The third one made was a monster, and it's the Weevils. Well, it's a Weevil anyway. It's a bog standard Weevil that you could army build on. Possibility of army building and repainting the color of his jacket or his outfit. So you could have a blue one or a black one, or he's basically wearing overalls, so you could change the color, I suppose. His head does not turn. I don't know if it's supposed to, but it just doesn't. And he has got a bit of a waist movement. Yeah, and his normal articulation. But this one's where it differs. Yeah, he has got the arm, the ball joint in the arm. So he can put his arm out and rotate it as per normal, but it gives a chance for his arm to come out. Okay. And the last one of wave 1 is a little bit of a weird one as well. Gwyn Cooper. Now I do like the figure. I think the figure is okay, but she can't turn her head. There's no, her head is molded. Her top half is molded into one piece up to the chest area. In fact, I think I might go as far as to say that the whole lot has been molded into one. So she's got no way of having any head turn whatsoever. She can't turn her head at all. Then again, she's got standard shoulder joints. Yeah, so she can move at the shoulder and move at the elbow. Her wrist moves. She does struggle keeping hold of her gun because she does come with a gun. Same as Captain Jack. He's got his gun there. She's got her gun. In fact, most of the Torchwood characters do come with their guns as well. I do like what she's wearing, though. That is classic Gwyn Cooper. When she enters Torchwood. So she originally started as a female police officer, and then she gets swept into the Torchwood and gets signed up with Torchwood and becomes a Torchwood operative instead. Which makes it quite interesting because does she get paid 2 wages? One for being a police officer as well as a Torchwood member, It's an interesting one. So that was the first wave. Now, the second wave is quite interesting because they did do three. That's three variant figures, and they're special variant figures because they're limited editions. And by limited editions, they only made 1,000 pieces of each. I haven't got the third one, but I've got the first two that they made, which was quite something to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the second wave first, I think. Yeah, because 1, 2. Yeah, because I've got them out of order here at the moment. So the first one that came out, the second wave, is Captain John. So if you don't know about Captain John, he's another member of the Time. He's another Time agent. And he features heavily at the start of the second series, Torchwood. He looks so good. He has got holsters and he's got guns in his holsters. I'm not going to take the guns out because I know I'm going to lose them. But he has got guns in each of his holsters and they are removable. And they fit in there quite snugly. He also has a samurai sword at the back, which does fit in there. But the sword is sheathed. And it's permanently sheathed, so you can't take it out, unfortunately. So where his samurai sheath is, that does not come out, and there's no blade in there. It's all molded as one piece, which sits quite neatly in a loop there. Keeps it together. But he's your swaggering Time agent. He looks something like from the 18th century with a 21st century or 20th century twist. He's wearing jeans and high-legged brown boots. I do like that one. So the next one we're looking at is, I'll just put them back there. Sorry, I've got to look at the package to find out which one comes in. Yeah, I know which one comes back. So in the first ever episode, you see a blowfish driving a sports car. There's the blowfish. So this one's just got normal joints. He's got normal arm joints. I can't move them to see that click because I haven't really. You can hear that click, but I haven't really played with them that often. I leave them on display. So he's got two arms. I don't want to snap that one because it needs a hairdryer treatment on that one. But there's a more detailed look at him. He's in a purple suit with an orange tie. Never forget the old deer that he stops by the traffic lights. Looking at the old deer as she walks over the road. And he drives off. And then Gwyn Cooper's chasing him down in the Torchwood RV. There he is. So the third character they made, Yenta Jones. There in his suit, his office suit. The tease boy that later turned out to be more of an operative than a tease boy. I won't give the game away what happens to him. If you're interested in Torchwood, it's Miracle, not Miracle Day, Children of Earth. You need to see, find out what happens to him. played by Gareth David Lloyd. Then he comes standard with his shoulder joints, and he's got a swivel at the waist, although it's pretty stiff, and just normal articulation, bog standard articulation. And the last one they did, Toshi Casato, or Tosh, known to her friends. As I say, she's got a gun there as well. Who happens to be the cyber expert. Now, unfortunately, that was the last way to go through before it was cancelled. They cancelled the orders because no one was really interested in the figures. Because, to be quite honest, they do feel when you have them in hand and hold them, they're nowhere near as weighty as I said before, as the character options figures. And unfortunately, they do feel on the cheap side. But they do resemble the characters quite well. But they're just not there, and they're not as where they should have been. There. So after that they were going to release an Owen Harper, the Dr. Owen Harper, but they never did get around to it because, unfortunately, as I said before, due to lack of interest, the line was just cancelled. But as I said, they did make 3 variants. Or limited edition runs, I would say. One's a variant and 2 are limited editions. The first limited edition came out in original packaging, and that was James Masters as Captain John. This has got a worldwide limited release of 513 out of 1,000. As Captain Jimmy Pie said, and I will test, these were made for the San Diego Comic-Con release. Basically, so the actors were able to sign them, but this one they never did sign, or the other one they didn't sign either. But there was 2. There was this one and the Yenta Jones. Yenta Jones came in a card back, but very similar as well. And that was a limited release of 1,000. That's more rarer than this one. This one can still be picked up on eBay if you look carefully enough. So there was that one. And the last one I have is the blue shirted version of Captain Jack Heartless. And this is 874 of 3,000 worldwide limited edition. So this one was released from Comic-Con as well. Trouble is with this one is that all the packaging is cracked and has fallen apart due to its age. I've got nicks out of the packaging as well. If I hold that up, you can see through it there. There's a big nick there. Big nick on top as well. It's not there. If I move my finger across there as well, there's a massive nick there. And a massive nick at the bottom as well. They did package it okay, but they used cheap plastic, and after a while, this plastic is very brittle and has a tendency to crack. He's got a white crease on the bottom there as well. So they're not 100% mint figure, mint on card figures, and you'd never really pay the price that I paid for them for mint on card. But as I said, they were provided by Scificollector, who, as I say, is a run of sci-fi shops. It says a division of Premier Philatelic Co. Limited, the Collectors Centre, 79 Strand, London. They've moved since then to Hertfordshire, but the packages they're okay. I mean, it is what it is, but it tells you what it is, and it's got a picture of the figure next to it. There. Can't really go too far. And those were the variants. What do I think about the figures? Well, I have them on display. I don't ever play with them. They're not. I don't use them to play with. I have them to present. So they're on the shelf. They're all on their stands, and they're all. There's any paint rub is, as I said, with Captain Jack Heartless on his carotid, where I've turned his neck, and obviously the paint just rubbed off his collar, because his collar's made of hard plastic, but his head isn't. So the paint just scrapes straight off. They are what they are. I like them. I like to have them on display, and if you are a Torchwood fan, I recommend them to you. And that's all I've got to say about that, really. So what other things can I talk about? Well, as I said, I talked about scalpers last week. I'm not a fan of them. I'm glad some of the Doctor Who Collectors Club that I belong to, the Doctor Who figure collectors, or B&M figure collectors club, they're fighting back. A lot of them have vowed never to pay scalper prices for them. They refuse to pay £70 odd pounds for. I mean, this figure is £19.99. That's all it is. There's no electronics in the Tardis. Yeah, so it's just your bog standard plastic Tardis with opening doors. There's no electronics in it. It has the speaker grill on the back still, and a Doctor. And it was the cheapest way they could do it for 19. Otherwise, it would have been worth more, like the second Doctor's, the Himalayan one from the Yeti. That was a lot. That was £30, I think. Oh no, that was £40, £39.99 for an electronic TARDIS. This one just as fine. I haven't got this variant of the Doctor, especially in his Ashokan hat, or is it Ashokan? It's Ashokan. I'm sure it's called an Ashokan. His hat is called an Ashokan. I haven't got that copy of the Doctor, first Doctor, in that hat, but those are going online at the moment, and scalpers are after £70 for them, even more. A couple of them, I've seen examples of a couple of them. People want £80 for them, which infuriates me, because why would you want to pay £80 for a figure like that? Why, if you're that desperate, go to toy fairs. They'll be cheaper there. You'd pay half that amount of toy fair than what you would online. So I don't understand the need. As I said on my broadcast last week, if I don't see them, then I don't get them. It's simple as that. I'm not paying £80 for a figure that is only worth 20 in the current market. It's absolutely ludicrous. So there we go. That's the action figures we've had a look at. We've had a quick brief look at them anyway. I'm sorry I haven't gone into too much detail about them. I have got other figures that I could go through later on, and I know I did the Tom Baker era of annuals, and I now I have at the moment the annuals from 2006 all the way through to, well, let's just say 2018, because that's the last time that Peter Capaldi was on. I have got 2019, but I didn't bother collecting last year's album. I've got no affiliation to the 13th Doctor whatsoever. I just I made the mistake of buying the Series 11 and the soundtrack, and they were the two biggest mistakes I've ever made, I think, because I've no affiliation for this Doctor at all. I watched Flux. I sat down and watched Flux. I watched the whole lot, and I watched it when it first came out. And by the end, I was pretty uninterested, bored. Couldn't make head nor tail of it. There's gaping holes in the plot, which don't make sense at all. And what he's done is just ludicrous. Well, it don't make sense. And for the BBC to have to re-release a video afterwards to explain the plot, well, it explains everything, doesn't it? He doesn't know what he was doing. He instead of scrapping, his plan was to have like eight episodes, and because they cut it down to 6, instead of scrapping the whole episodes and starting again, he just, for want of a better term, bastardized. He bastardized the 8 episodes into 6, and none of it made any sense. Left gaping holes, plot holes everywhere, and rushed the finale. So that's why it's one of the most unpopular finales of Doctor Who since it's come back. And then this New Year's episode, we're just going to pretend that nothing happened. We're going to pretend that nothing happened and the Daleks are just back. Whereas they were wiped out by the Flux and now they're back. How the hell they got back? Well, we don't know. Because in the last episode, the Cybermen were wiped out and the Daleks were wiped out. And the Centaurans were wiped out in the end because they tried pitting the Cybermen against the Daleks again. And they were all wiped out. But hey ho. Anyway, thanks for watching. Return of the Rocket Man if you're watching this. Many, many thanks for your videos. And Ode to Toys if you're watching this. Keep up the good work. You're doing a fantastic job. And I much appreciate watching your videos. My regards to another YouTuber that I watch a lot as well, Toy Polloy. I've got a lot of time for Dave at Toy Polloy. He's coming out with some lovely stuff as well. Tony from Analog Toys, who's just received his new batch of Action Force figures. And one of the Action Force figures is actually based on him, Desert Rat, which is lovely to see. From Valaverse Toys. So that's another one I'll be looking at. Although I can't afford it. It's a line that I'll never be able to afford because it's expensive. And Michael from Retroblasting. And the last one I want to give a massive shout out to and say hello to is All Things 80s. A good friend of the channel, Dean. Hello, if you're watching. Nice to see you. So everyone, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.